Hi guys, a man named Chris phoned into David Lammy's show to explain why he won't vote for the Tories again. The caller claimed to have backed the Conservatives for 50 years, which raises a few questions. But in particular, the last 13, he feels that they've been lying through their teeth. Chris here said that it was the rumour of scrapping inheritance tax before the next general election which was the deal breaker for him. He also raised the Tory promise to bring down immigration to the tens of thousands. So, should we be happy Chris has finally woken up? Have a listen.
As a Tory voter of 50 years, no, it will not get my vote. They could come to my front door with all the gold in the world and I wouldn't vote for them. It's a policy that's designed to affect only a few in the Tory shires. If you're living 20 floors up in a council flat, you've got 3 screaming kids, you're struggling to pay your rent and your electricity bills, and you don't know where your next mouthful of food is going to come from. That's not going to affect you. You're not going to sit there in your flat and think, oh, I know, I think I'll vote for the Tories because they've scrapped that. Utterly ridiculous.
What's your personal circumstances, Chris?
I'm retired. I own a 4-bedroom house. I have no mortgage. I've been a Tory voter for 50 years. I would not vote Tory now for anything because,
why?
Quite frankly, I can tell you for why, David, because they have lied through their teeth for the last 13 years. They have ruined everything. David Cameron, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, stood up, and I think it was in 2012, and said, and I think I can quote him almost word for word, when he said, no ifs, no buts, I will get immigration down to the tens of thousands. And what is it now? 750,000?
David Cameron says a lot of things that I'm afraid haven't turned out to be true.
Okay. The question I have is, how can somebody who has voted for 50 years, Conservative, turn around now and say, no, I'm not going to lend them my vote? How can you do that? He says here 13 years of lying through their teeth. So let's just think about that for a moment. Chris voted for the Conservatives in 2010. Then he voted for them again in 2015. Then he voted for them again in 2017. And then he voted for them again in 2019. And now he's decided, no, I'm not going to vote for them anymore. I'm sorry, Chris, but you can't get away with that. You can't turn around and now say, damn it, it was the wrong way to vote. You know, we should have voted for somebody else. I should have voted for somebody else in 2015, 2017, 2019. You can't turn around now and say it was they were lying to me, because they've been lying since they've been in power. It's not just that David Cameron was lying. Theresa May was lying. Boris Johnson was lying. Liz Truss was lying. And of course, Rishi Sunak has been lying. So you can't turn around now and say, well, you know, I've just discovered that they've lied to me and now I'm not going to lend them my vote. Now, on the issue he brought up, of course, the inheritance tax, it seems this is what the Tories are going to put their political capital into, hoping that this will convince enough people to back the Conservatives at the next general election. We're going to bring down, it seems, income tax and eliminate inheritance tax. But as was pointed out here by Chris, inheritance tax doesn't help a lot of people. It helps a very, very small minority. And I believe on the family home, it's exempt. So we're talking about people who have assets, people who have maybe a second, third, or a number of other houses, and they will benefit from that. Rishi Sunak, I believe, is going to benefit, if it's eliminated, to the value of something like £300 million. His family would benefit that much if you eliminated inheritance tax. So, but back to Chris. I'm sorry, we can't let Chris off the hook. He's part of the problem here. You can't turn around now and say, oh my goodness, David Cameron lied to me, but I backed the Tories anyway. Oh, wait a minute, Boris Johnson lied to me, but I'll back the Tories anyway. Boris Johnson and Theresa May and others were not reliable politicians. We knew that they were lying to people, but you can't get away from the nasty party. They have been in power for 13 years, lying through their teeth, as you pointed out yourself. And you can't just turn around now and say, okay, I'm not going to back them. Yes, it's good if he's not voting for them. But if you backed them for 50 years, what's to stop you turning around at the next election after this and voting Conservative once again? Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.